Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Another Zod back at you. Basically, I just wanted to cover something real quick. Oh, to complex blackness, you're right about putting out videos, but YouTube works on algorithms. So the more videos you put out, the more likely you are to get hits. You know what I mean? So that's why I continue to put out videos. See, right now I'm trying to get my channel monetized, but it's under review, and sometimes the review can take up to 1 to 2 months because they're backed up. But the more hits and the more subscribers you get, the faster they really look at your shit. So that's why I'm putting out so many videos. And plus, there's no limit on what I have to say, but I'm just basically, it's easy answering questions. You know what I mean? But with that being said, basically I want to get into something that a lot of people have been asking me since day one on my channel. It's what do I feel about homies that sound black or talk black and they're homies. For the most part, I'm just gonna be honest, it doesn't really bother me. But at first it was just kind of funny because seeing the way I talk and seeing the way they talk. But I had to come to the understanding that I grew up in a different era. These waters have been in neighborhoods as far as that are grimy and ghetto. So it's like I told the homie Klepto, it's not that you're acting black, it's just you're ghetto Mex. You're just a ghetto ass Mexicano. You grew up in a neighborhood that might have had more blacks, you know what I mean? So you adopted that way of talking, and I'm not mad at it. There's a guy right now, Cap G, that a lot of people be on his head, but this vato grew up in Atlanta, so the vast majority, he's the only Mexican family in that neighborhood, so he grew up around nothing but blacks. You got another cat, I forget his name. This dude, he's out of Denver. Talking to him is like talking to one of like my family members. You know what I mean? It's like this dude, regardless of his affiliation, the dude is ghetto. He grew up, that's his slang and shit, so he ain't faking it. So when it comes down to that, that's basically all I'm gonna say on that. But I wanna point out something that a lot of people don't pay attention to. See, when you grow up in a black family, there's some black families that really don't trip, and there's others that do. My family never had racial divide. Dad grew up, hung around, bought from San Fe. Mom grew up in Pacoima. Everybody ate chorizo and all that other shit, you know what I mean? So the culture was there, so you couldn't really have, when it comes down to the gang shit, you got fools that, they hate because it's gang shit. But for the most part, like, motherfuckers ain't really tripping like that. Now, for the homies that grew up in, like, South Central and certain parts of West Los, that's just where they grew up, you know what I mean? They're going to be different from waters from, IE and OC and, and like East LA. But to be honest, there's ghetto autos everywhere, you know what I mean? It's the culture, the music. A lot of homies are moving into music, so they crossing these barriers that nobody really did before. Cholo rap, for the most part, is there, but it's secluded from everybody else. When Kid Frost first came out, he started bridging gaps later on, but for a while he just basically separated. And when he did that song, you know what I mean, that separated everything. I mean, you still have black was listening to it, but for the most part they were like, oh, he ain't trying to represent nothing outside of his own. And so, like, why I mentioned this fool Cap G is because he grew up in Atlanta and he sounds black, you know what I mean? But that's basically where he grew up. So I just can't really expect everybody to be the same. A lot of it's disconnect from OGs, and not, we can't just blame it on the OGs. It's because Vatos grew up in a different time period. Now it's not, even though shit still got this racial divides in certain spots, for the most part, it's people are bridging gaps. See, a lot of people put themselves in a little box. I see Latino rappers do it all the time. They don't want to collab with certain blacks. They don't want to do certain things, and that shit really hurts the narrative. It's like when people say, what, I don't care about being famous, I just want to make that money. Well, if you're Latino and you ain't trying to get out there and put your name, that's why I look at 6ix9ine does some backward shit, but at the end of the day, he's doing shit smart. He antagonizes motherfuckers, but that's the culture now. You know what I mean? It's a conflict. I see King Lil G, you know what I mean? Spanky Loco was out there. He surprised me because he was just out there talking shit, and I'll pull up and all this other shit, and shit that we normally never did, but they're starting to do because they know social media pushes the narrative. Homies and people, from California really ain't never had problem with beef anyway. They figure, oh, I'm gonna beef anyway, so why not use that platform in order to push my record. It's not that they're being negative, it's just they grew up in neighborhoods that weren't necessarily positive, and they're not really trying to push that positive narrative. So they're gonna do what they do. What I say to homies is like, look, at the end of the day, it's so bomb to collab. I got a homie right now that's back and forth from Oakland to Kansas to all different spots. And this fool, you know, raza, real light, colored eyes, but he's doing things, and he's moving these beats, and he just, you know, and he's going spots that, you know, normally a lot of us can't go. That's why I say, you know, I don't trip off of it, because, you know, at the end of the day, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? But they need to break down these barriers. You know, in the black culture, there's a lot of people besides the ones that's smart and up on game that, you know, discriminate against their own. You're too fucking light. You're not dark enough. You speak proper. You're not black enough. You do this. You're not this enough. And that's the one thing that plagues, you know, people I know right now, because they only see a certain thing. Well, you have to speak fucking Ebonics, and if you don't speak Ebonics, oh, you're trying to be something else. If you're an intelligent black dude and you go to college, oh, you're acting white. You know what I mean? It's that shit that motherfuckers got to deal with. That's why the division that is the way it is amongst black people. You know what I mean? And that's speaking from a black dude. So we don't want to box ourselves into that, you know, as homies and shit. You don't want to box yourself into that. You see these Puerto Ricans that are really out there putting it, Dominicans, Salvadorians, all that shit. You know, we need to push past that. Don't lock yourself into an area to where you discriminate against your own because the way they talk, because at the end of the day, they're still your people, and you need to really push that narrative of coming together, because at the end of the day, that's how you prosper. You know what I mean? Don't be one of the watchers that, you know, you hating on your own when he's trying to do it, because at the end of the day, when he dies, that's another person that you lost that probably could have pushed your people to another plateau. The same way I tell, you know, people I know that discriminate against light skin and blacks, I tell them, man, this dude is still black. You know, you got chicks hating because this chick got long hair. I seen some shit on the internet. These chicks were fighting over whose hair was real and who was fake. Oh, well, that's not Indian hair. That's, you know, it's this. I got, this is Brazilian hair. You got all this stupid shit, you know, that, and that's why the division is there, and that's why it will continue to be there, because, you know, there's so much, oh, you're not black, you're not, you know, anybody that doesn't speak Ebonics is not black enough. If you got intelligence, you've been to college, you know, you've been to the military, and you don't talk with Ebonics, you're not black enough. And that shit is proven. And it's sad, and that's why the division is there. So for the watchers that, you know, that are homies and shit, I say just, you know, at the end of the day, be who you are, but support your gente. If this water sounds a little black and he's out there spitting and he's coming up, support him. Put your back in behind him. That's how you prosper. Anything else is going to be seen as hate, and then that's why you got homies that be like, oh, you fucking cholo, like, we don't sound like that no more. And then it causes discord amongst homies. Break that. You know, I'll be honest, I've ran into homies that are older that say the Norteños were getting it right because they don't have that racial divide. You know, they really breaking bread and trying to, you know, and a lot of us grew up with blacks and Mexicanos and everything, you know, but we still got this issue. I'm black and Panameño, but you know, you got people that hate Salvadorians and hate Hondureños and like all this, you know. The R, I always have problems rolling that shit, but that shit needs to stop, you know what I mean? And in order to prosper, you know, I see people, they see my shirt, you know what I'm saying, and they see the Mexicano flag, and they're, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of Mexicanos like the fact when you embrace their culture. You know, if you're gonna be around a certain culture, try to embrace it, learn Spanish, you know what I mean? A lot of people that grew up in ghetto neighborhoods, they're just embracing the culture. Their culture is predominantly black, well, as far as like a predominant black neighborhood, so they pick up that shit. Some people love the way they talk, you know, the way I sound fucking cholo, because that's how I grew up, you know. That's a estilo that I fell in love with, so I continue it, you know. That's why when people hate on me, I just be like, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm gonna choose to do what I want, and there's nothing that's ever gonna stop that, you know. There's no amount of tired rhetoric and, you know, in your windows disrespect, you know, that's gonna stop that. I've been through all types of pressure, and it's still gonna remain the same, you know. I'm always gonna be loyal to my homeboys. I'm always gonna push the culture, you know, and at the end of the day, it don't matter what I push, my skin is still black. So, you know, but I could just go in here and be like, oh, I'm black and Panameño, and fuck, you know, the other half, you know, but that would be stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's about bridging gaps. As long as you stay narrow-minded and refuse to cross different you know, areas, you're always going to be stuck. Dude, fuck with these vatos in these neighborhoods. We all know that if you're black and you're trying to reach the Hispanic audience, you need to incorporate Hispanics in your shit. Now, if you're a Mexicano and you're trying to reach the black audience, all you got to do is step your game up and learn how to collab without tripping. There's blacks out there that ain't famous right now that got spit. Fuck with them. You know what I mean? And that's how you're going to get that money. Don't be one of these vatos like, oh, well, I sell my shit in bodegas and you know, in the panaderias and in the little marquetas where you got Vicente and all these other fools, you know. Don't get stuck in that category. It's two different type of brackets. You got this with all like the mainstream music, and then you got you over here. In order to bridge that, you got to collab. All that shit, I don't want to be famous. I'm not, as long as I get my money, I don't want to be famous. Don't follow that narrative, because them are the motherfuckers that are always going to be stuck in a certain bracket. If you can get, why settle for 100,000 when you can get millions? Start bridging these gaps, cross these barriers, and don't be worried about, you know, how people look at you. As long as you keep it real with inside, you know what's up. You know what I mean? Don't be like, oh, well, I'm not this, and people can tell. It's like people that say, oh, I'm not Mexican, but they are. Or I'm not Indio, but you are. I'm not black, but you are. Just because I represent what I represent don't mean that I refuse to acknowledge the fact that I'm black. It's just this is the culture I chose, so I'm going with it, you know. And you got to do you. But with that being said, hopefully all the homies are having a good day. Like I said, I'm on my way to Los. I'm trying to make business deals, you know. I'm trying to really push the brand. And for the people that, you know, just to explain it, as far as like putting out your videos, it's algorithms. Once you stop putting out videos, you waste too much time. You're not consistent. Your channel falls off, and then nobody's no longer viewing you. And it's, what's the use of being on YouTube making videos if you're not trying to come up? It's just, you know. With that being said, like I said, I'm on my way out, and you about to enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you like the shirt, uncut all day. I'm out.